If you've lifted your 2004 through 2020 F-150, excluding the Raptor models, whether it be new struts or just a spacer, and you've noticed that your upper control arms are taking a little bit of a beating, this set of front upper control arms for 2 to 4 inches of lift in red is a great solution for you. Now, after lifting, you've probably noticed that your ride may not be as nice anymore, or your alignment's kind of wonky, and this set fixes that for a smoother ride and improved performance and overall better experience, whether you're taking your truck off-road or simply just driving it on the street. Now, this set of upper control arms not only provides the functional benefits that you need, but does it at a very affordable price point if you want an easy solution and an affordable one as well. Upper control arms can be neglected when lifting a truck, but they're crucial to a sound and comfortable ride, in addition to proper wheel alignment, which improves steering and handling as a direct result. Now, when lifting your truck, the upper control arms, if not adjusted for, create a steeper angle, which add more pressure and don't allow for that solid alignment, and it can take away from your traction and down travel, limiting your truck's performance. Now, this set, however, turns that around with a longer and correctly angled design that's specific for 2 to 4 inches of lift, improving the feel and the performance of your F-150. This set is even maintainable with greasable Zerk fittings, so you can make sure that the performance lasts thanks to the serviceable build. These are made of a high-strength DOM carbon steel tubing, allowing them to hold up well and offer your front suspension some solid stability. Now, on top, it has this bright red UV powder coat, resisting scratching, fading, and rusting over time, while also offering a little pop of color peeking through that wheel well there. Now, the ball joint is also very tough, with machined housing and a dust cover to prevent any dirt or debris from getting inside. And on the other side, these do have polyurethane bushings here. These offer a little bit of a stiffer feel compared to rubber ones, but these will last much longer and are able to take some more abuse. Now, as I mentioned, you also get some Zerk fittings in the kit in order to grease them, and you even get an extra one just in case you damage one. Now, everything you see on the table comes in at about $300, making it one of the more affordable choices in the category for a set of front upper control arms. Now, this set stands out from the rest with the tough but no fuss construction, making it a great choice if your truck doesn't need any additional bells and whistles or anything crazy, and you just want more of a straightforward option for control arms. It's also one of the only red powder-coated options, great if you know you want some color inside the wheel well, in addition to the functional benefits that this set comes with. Install is a 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and it should take about 3 hours or so to get the job done with the right tools and setup. I definitely recommend a little bit of mechanical experience in order to tackle this job. However, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers here, and they're going to show you a detailed step-by-step breakdown on how you can get these onto your F-150 at home. So that wraps it up for me. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, a mallet, hammer, 21, 15, 13, 10, and 8mm socket, pry bar, spray lubricant, 7/8, 21, 17, 18, 15, and 3/8 wrench, clip removal tool, caliper hanging tool, grease gun, adjustable pliers, vacuum pump, and also not shown would be a lift and pull jack. All right, today we're going to be installing an upper control arm on our F-150. First, we're going to watch a quick video how to uninstall the stock strut, and then we'll come back here to uninstall this upper control arm and install the new one.
First thing we're going to do on our uninstall is remove these 2 brackets here that hold our brake line and our ABS line to the steering knuckle, and disconnect them from the bracket for the control arm up here to get them out of the way to relieve some of the tension when we remove the steering knuckle from the upper control arm. So we're going to use an 8mm and a 10mm socket to remove these 2 brackets here, and then a trim removal tool to pop out these plastic push pins here that hold the brakes up there. So we'll use our 8mm to disconnect the bracket from the ABS line. And then we'll use our 10mm socket to disconnect our brake hose from the steering knuckle. Now we'll use our trim removal tool to remove these plastic push clips here, and then one at the top. Next thing we're going to do is remove our brake caliper and our rotor to get those out of the way and remove some of the weight from the steering knuckle. So we're going to use our 21 millimeter socket on the back of the steering knuckle here to remove our brake caliper. Now we can lift our caliper away from the rotor and then pull our rotor straight out. Now you want to hang up your rotor on some sort of a hanging device to keep the stress off of your brake hose. And now we'll just go ahead and pull our rotor off. Now we're going to go ahead and disconnect our tie rod end from our steering knuckle using our 21 millimeter socket. Now with our nut removed, you can go ahead and tap the bottom of this tie rod shaft to tap it up and dislodge it from the steering knuckle. Now we're going to go ahead and disconnect our sway bar end link right here from the sway bar so that we can go ahead and lower our lower control arm when we remove our strut. So we're going to use an 18 millimeter wrench to remove that nut. Now there are two vacuum lines connected together right here behind the steering knuckle itself. What we're going to do is just going to pull those off. Next thing we're going to do is remove this dust cap and the 13 millimeter nut that holds the axle into the steering knuckle. But before you remove that nut, what you want to do is put a vacuum pump on the larger of the two ports that we just disconnected the vacuum lines for, because that will prevent some damage to the actuator that's inside the steering knuckle. So let's go ahead and get this dust cap removed and get our vacuum pump installed. Now you can use a pair of adjustable pliers or a small flathead screwdriver to get in here and pull that dust cap off. Now we're going to go ahead and hook up our vacuum pump, like I said, to the larger of the two ports back here. And you want to use your vacuum pump and pull it up to about 24 or 25 inches of vacuum. Then we'll go ahead and remove our nut. So using our 13 millimeter socket, we'll go ahead and dislodge this nut. Now we can go ahead and disconnect our steering knuckle from our upper control arm using our 18 millimeter wrench. Now we're not going to take the nut off yet because, as you can tell, we haven't separated the ball joint shaft from the steering knuckle. So to do that, we're going to use our hammer, and we're just going to smack the top of the steering knuckle here to dislodge that ball joint shaft. Now with it loose, we can go ahead and remove our nut. We'll go ahead and separate our ball joint from our steering knuckle and lay that off to the side. Now we're going to remove our two lower strut mount bolts here and here using our 19 millimeter wrench and a 19 millimeter socket. Now we can remove the three nuts from the top of our strut using our 15 millimeter wrench, and we can pull our strut out. And now you can repeat that whole process for the other side.
All right, now we're gonna get our control arm out. So we have our 2 bolts at the top here. So we have a 21mm ratcheting wrench and an 18mm wrench to hold the head. We're just gonna get these 2 bolts out that come out through the inside here. Just take that out and do the same thing for the other side. Now we can just pull our last bolt out and remove our whole upper control arm. So before we can get our new control arm installed, we just need to do a little bit of assembly. So we have our 2-part bushings and then a sleeve that goes through each one. So we're gonna grab our mallet, some spray lubricant, and we're just gonna get these installed. So we're just gonna lube up on the inside here. We're gonna get our inside bushing in first. Grab our mallet, just tap that down. Same thing on this side. And now for the outside ones, we can actually rest it on our table like so. Give it a little bit more lube. And then get our sleeve, and just hammer that in. Go ahead and do the same thing for the other one. Back here. Next we have 2 grease fittings that go on either arm. Now we're gonna put these on now and grease them up because there may not be a good access while they're on. So we're gonna thread them into our threaded hole and grab a 3/8 wrench and tighten them down. Then we'll grab our grease gun and grease up our fittings. Grab a rag, wipe off the extra, and then you go ahead and do the same thing to the other control arm. So we're gonna start off and get our control arm installed. You just wanna make sure that you have the right one. The ball joint will be angled towards the back of the vehicle. So we're gonna get this in place and just get our bolts loosely installed. Now if you need to, you can grab a rubber mallet just to help tap it in place because it is a tight fit. We're gonna get it lined up, get our bolts through. All right, we'll just tuck that up out of the way for right now. We're gonna get our strut in and then we can come back and tighten that later. So we're gonna go ahead and get our strut in. Now you will see we do have a spacer on here. This control arm is designed for a 2 to 4 inch lift, so we have our 3-inch spacer. So we'll just go ahead and get this installed. It installs like any other strut. Slide at the top. We're gonna get our bottom bolts in through our strut here. Now you may have your 19mm hardware that you took out. We have 17mm heads with 15mm nuts. So we're using our 17mm wrench to hold it, 15mm socket. Just get our bottom washers and nuts on. And go ahead and just tighten those down. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten our top strut mount bolts down. Now you may have a different type of hardware depending on what kind of lift kit you have. Ours are 17mm nuts, so we're gonna thread them on there and then tighten them down with a 17mm ratcheting wrench. So we're gonna get our axle back into our hub. You just wanna make sure you still have that vacuum pump hooked up. We'll get everything lined up and just get our nut threaded onto the end. As you can see, I do have a pole jack under just to kind of help lift everything up into the right angle. We'll get this threaded on, come back around, get that tightened up, and then we can get our upper control arm into our knuckle. So we're gonna grab our impact and 13mm socket and tighten down our axle nut. Now that that's tight, we can also just pop off our vacuum pump and get that out of the way. All right, so we're actually gonna move on to our sway bar. We're actually gonna need to drop our truck down and put some weight on it to get our ball joint to line up with our knuckle. But we're gonna get everything else reattached. So we're gonna get our 18mm nut and thread that onto our sway bar link, grab our 18mm ratcheting wrench and tighten that down. So we're gonna get our vacuum lines reattached back to our hub. So we're gonna get our rotor back on. I'm actually just gonna put one of our lug nuts on to help hold it on. Just makes getting the caliper on a little bit easier. And also while we're here, we can put our cap on. If you need to, you can grab a rubber mallet, pop that on if it's just a little bit harder. But now we can get our caliper on. We can now get our caliper back on. Just slide that back over our rotor. Line it up so we can reinstall our two 21mm bolts. We'll grab our impact 21mm socket and tighten those two down. Next, we can get our tie rod reinstalled. Let's get that back through our knuckle, thread on our nut, grab our impact and 21mm socket, tighten that down. So as you can see, I did lower the vehicle down. It is on a jack stand to put some weight up on to get this ball joint down in our knuckle to get the correct angle. We're gonna get our flat washer and our locking nut and thread that on. We can go ahead and tighten that down. I do have a 7/8 wrench. It's just gonna take some time to tighten this all the way down. Let's get started. While we're here, we can also get our harnesses reattached. So we got our 8mm bolt for our ABS wire. Thread that in, and then our 10mm bolt for our brake line. Grab our ratchet and our 8mm and 10mm socket and tighten those two down. So now is actually the perfect time to tighten down our upper control arm because we have our weight down on it. So we're gonna grab our 18mm wrench to hold our heads and then our 21mm ratcheting wrench to tighten everything down. Same thing on the other side. Now that you have everything tightened up on this side, you can go ahead and repeat those same steps for the other side of the truck. And that wraps up our install of our front upper control arms for a 2 to 4 inch lift, colored red for a 2004 to 2020 F-150, excluding the Raptor. And remember, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.